Red Dirt Roundup is made possible this week with the support of PlacesToRide.com, your guide to great places to go and things to do on a motorcycle. Submit your favorite ride at www.placestoride.com. And Borders Midtown Tulsa, located on 21st at Columbia. Borders Books and Music. It's all here.
Broadcasting a code through our microwave to your television that the line can pick up the mood.
The Payne County Film Festival and Red Dirt Roundup, featuring Randy Bumley and friends.
We will reach new heights with this technology that allows us to look inside your central nervous system and penetrate every fiber of your body and mind to affect your well-being. This effect is known as the Red Dirt Roundup.
Smart glasses.
Smart glasses. If you wear smart glasses, you'll be 100% smarter. Look at this guy. He's dumb. He puts the smart glasses on. He's 100% smarter. He's a lot smarter. Be smart. Wear smart glasses.
Smart glasses.
My smart glasses make me smart.
Smart glasses.
Send $3 plus $19.95 shipping and handling to Smart Glasses, 1212B South Bull Drive, Pawnee, Oklahoma, 74058.
Go ahead, ask me a question.
Smart glasses.
Hi, I'm Ben Doggett, famous actor of the television show Emergency Hospital Place. Do you remember my favorite color in that show? Do you remember my best friend's name? Let me ask you this. Do you know your child's favorite color? Do you know your child's best friend's name? Yeah, that's just what I thought. You pathetic loser, sitting there watching TV with your junk food, letting it drain the blood out of your very life. Get alive! And be sure to watch our all-new season of Emergency Hospital Place live from Las Vegas this fall.
Hello and welcome to Naive Antiquing. Today's show is about rare items I found at the flea market. We'll start off with a piece of memorabilia. It's a CD of the 1997 Rolling Stones album Bridges to Babylon, signed by the founding member Brian Jones. What makes it so rare is that Jones autographed an album he didn't actually play on. Musicians rarely do that, so that increases the value dramatically. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't Brian Jones die in 1969 long before the album came out? But that's what makes this piece so rare. As a former band member, Jones got an advance copy. This is the only one known in existence. It was a steal. After bargaining with the guy, I got it for $1,000 cash. So when this happened, I knew I was hot. So then I went big, real big. I talked the guy out of an advance copy of the Beatles anthology, signed by all four Beatles. Yeah, baby. Yeah, this is the only copy in existence. I got it for $10,000. Sweet. As you know, artifacts from the Romanov dynasty are very hot. So if somebody has any of this stuff, they have to be pretty sharp in the first place. So you have to be ruthlessly strategic to get them to part with it, especially when the dealer is a hardcore barterer. Now, as you probably know, Alexandra retained Rasputin as her spiritual advisor. But in those days, before a person could be admitted into the presence of Tsarina, they had to be immaculately clean. Now, Rasputin was a pretty rough guy. Sleeping in the woods was the least of this guy's bad habits. So before he was allowed to see the Countess, he had to be scrubbed and all of his body hair combed and checked for lice, fleas, and other body parasites. These days, they'd probably just put Frontline on him and call it good. But in those days, they used this royal lice comb. Now, the golden age of the Romanov dynasty was in the early 1900s. I thought that plastic came along much later, but as I found out from the dealer, Plastic was actually invented by the Russian artisans in the late 1800s, who were originally trying to perfect paper shoes. Russians at the time considered plastic to be more precious than gold. I brought my shrewd bartering skills into play and got this win on a trade for my stud-bearer horse trailer. The guy also had what is one of the most significant historical finds in the past 100 years. As scholars know, the Bolsheviks executed the Romanov family in 1918, but the course of history would have been changed if the emperor had worn this bulletproof vest. Now, I'm not a simp. When the dealer held this up, I said, "Isn't that a little thin to be a bulletproof vest?" But he told me that due to the technology of the day, guns didn't fire with the same velocity they do, and most of the bullets were handmade by blind peasants, so it was easier to stop them. So this piece isn't only rare, it also gives us a little history lesson. So I almost felt bad when I got off with trading my boat for it. Coming up next week, I'll give our viewers a shrewd guide on how to buy antique cars online. Remember, listen to me or you'll get taken. I know what I'm talking about. I just bought the original Batmobile online, sight unseen, from a private owner in Haiti. I'm hoping it will arrive in time for next week's taping. See you then.
Say fish, blah 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 blah, and you say fish, blah 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 blah. Say fish, say blah 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 blah. Say blah 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 blah. Big blah 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 blah. Big saving. Blah 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 blah. Ask Randy. Ask Randy. Ask Randy. Ask Randy. Ask Randy. Yeah, ask Randy.
Randy, the court says I need to be admitted to treatment for my road rage. Can you recommend a good program? Jeff from Dallas. Well, Jeff, I'll tell you, the problem with most road rage treatment strategies is that it automatically assumes that you're the jackass. But if you think about the numbers, you can't be the jackass all the time. Because if you were the only jackass in the world, then why is the world in the shape that it's in? There has to be other jackasses out there, and sometimes they have to pay, and pay big. I remember once some guy cut me off. It was my karmic duty to chase that guy down and give him a driver's ed lesson he'd never forget. It turns out it was Senator Brady Holcomb. So later on, I'm at Batman's filling up and getting a beef cheese stick when the FBI SWAT team shows up. And they show up quick. All I know is 1 minute I'm biting into a beef cheese stick, and the next minute I'm drooling on the ground with a taser stuck right through my left nipple. And do you think that Batman's going to help me? No, Batman's busy making sure the natural light display is just so. And if Batman ain't going to help you, what hope do you have? So the moral of this story is that some people are asses and sometimes they must pay. But cover your tracks up and put a handkerchief over your license plate.
Take it easy.
Tunica stays in Tunica.
I'm Max Shelby, CEO of Hallmax Cards. Yes, we're the card company you've been using for years. When you wanted to send out those greetings to your family and friends, you've bought those little pieces of cardboard from us with the writings on it that you could never work up the nerve to say yourself, nor the sincerity. We've been there for you, Hallmax Cards. And I'm just so proud to be the CEO of Hallmax Cards. And today, we'd just like to honor all the days and remembrances that you buy these cards from us. Birthdays, weddings, Valentine's Day, Easter, graduation, Cinco de Mayo, Nurses Day, Christmas, New Year's Day, Fast Food Workers Day. Congratulations on winning your lawsuit. Congratulations on getting out of jail. Automotive Technician Day. Dress Up Like a Chicken Day. And announcing greetings from the new Springer collection. Congratulations on your sex change. You're my mother-in-law, but I wish you were my girlfriend. You haven't lost your temper all week, honey. I'm your son, but you don't know me.
Hallmax Cards. Keep them coming.
Waiting for the misery kicking in.
You're watching Liner Notes with your host, Gary Goode. This week, Randy Bumley, Musical Chameleon of 1,000 Faces.
So today we're talking to Randy Bumley. Going to talk about your career from your first album, 1969's Jug Band Ecstasy, to this past year's album, Standards Bearer. And so, Fish left Oklahoma in 1962 with $20 and some F&H green stamps in the pockets of your dungarees. Hopped a bus in New York City to become a part of the folk scene.
Yes, those were crazy times.
But you didn't fit in New York. You were an outsider, a rebel. And this whole thing culminated with you and Bob Dylan being at odds and ending up swinging each other with broken beer bottles.
Yeah, that's how it started. It ended rather suddenly.
Yeah, but to this day, you remain the only major American singer to have been cold-cocked by Joan Baez.
Yes, but it was a clear violation of the rules of engagement. She snuck up on me. She was hiding behind a large Englishman.
Yeah, it's Chaz Chandler, as I recall, later managed Jimi
Matter of
Hendrix.
fact,
But
yes.
you left the East Coast and you just drifted across the country, just thumbing it.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm just a wandering minstrel.
Minstrel, a wandering minstrel. So, I guess you ended up kind of around the West Coast, right?
I ended up in California and I released a Jewish surf rock instrumental called Shark Grist.
Classic, classic.
But the West Coast scene wasn't for me either, so I hitchhiked back to Oklahoma. I ended up spending 6 months living with the hill folks in the Ouachita Mountains. Just getting my head together and woodshedding.
Literally woodshedding.
Yeah, I was living in this guy's woodshed.
So, it was during this period that you wrote the songs which largely made up your debut album, 1969's Jug Band Ecstasy. And in doing so, I think you single-handedly pioneered the genre of jug band erotica.
Yeah, well, let's just say I helped mainstream it.
Like, you're very modest, but your banjo breakdown Tick Checker has since become a bluegrass classic. And you followed up bluegrass with the bold move of making a synthesizer album talking about 1970s I'm in the Moog for Love.
Yeah, I was fascinated by the possibilities of the instrument.
Yeah, and, well, really, it's an experimental album, but it features some of your greatest love songs. I'm thinking, of course, of the slow-burning jam of Captivating Lady, or the surprise Christmas hit, I'm going to Bring It Like Santa Claus.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, and then you followed this up with another uncharacteristic move, a double album, and it was recorded during your Buddhist period, and it's called Ineffable Silence. It came out in '73, and the entire album is 89 minutes and 34 seconds of you doing nothing but meditate in the studio.
Yeah, that one didn't translate well live, but to understand it, you really have to hear it on the CD. It's even more quiet.
Man, I hear the remastered version's coming out is even more quiet than that. But then, in the mid-'70s, you reestablished your commercial stature with two singles, White Boy on the Dance Floor, and the follow-up single, Dance, White Boy, Dance.
Yeah, that was during the time when Play That Funky Music, White Boy, and Foreigner's Dirty White Boy were top 10 hits. For that moment in time, the White Boy thing was just huge. I mean, the tour was sold out. We were living large.
So, that was the Here Comes the White Boy tour, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I really wanted to take that tour to the Apollo, but things didn't work out that way.
Yeah, and your next move further confounded your fans and critics. When it was in late '77, you signed with Robert Stigwood and entered your disco phase. Disco-matic sold a lot of records, but it alienated your hardcore rock fans. And I remember even in my elementary school, there were definite divisions between the Bumley disco fans and the Bumley rock fans. And I won't lie to you, I mean, sometimes there was violence and there was fights. You know, it was like the Mods and Rockers except with third graders.
Yeah, look, I love my fans, and they literally gave me all that I had, but I can't be responsible for the violence they perpetrate in my name.
True, and your '79 cover of Son of a Preacher Man was a huge hit on the gay dance club scene.
And I've been accused of opportunism for that single, but it's just that when you say daughter of a preacher man, it just doesn't fit with the music.
So, throughout much of the 1980s, People magazine chronicled your very public battle with caffeine addiction.
Oh yeah, those were tough times. I found I couldn't even get out of bed without the stuff, and then
In the afternoons, I would get these excruciating headaches.
And you credit your love affair with Grace Jones with helping you overcome your addiction.
Yeah, she is one special lady.
And to this day, you have a strict zero-tolerance policy regarding caffeine use on your tours.
That's true, and it's really hard to get band members, but it's a small price to pay to have a clean tour.
And then you had a comeback smash with the blues single, She Broke Up With Me on a Speakerphone at Her Boyfriend's House Blues.
Yeah, I write from life.
And so is that one about Grace Jones?
No. Susan Anton. We had a little thing on the side. Even though it was OPP, it was still very traumatic. She's one special lady.
And in 1989, with the success of Two Live Crew's Dirty As They Want to Be at an all-time high, you took an ill-advised foray into X-rated rap with the album Tulsa Driller.
In this business, you got to change with the times, otherwise you just become a dinosaur like Neil Young. Plus, I figured I needed to represent for Tulsa.
Yeah, and the album did finally yield a very successful single called Fun in the Cockpit, but America's leaders were incensed, so much so that the United States Congress voted across party lines to enact an embargo against you personally. Looking back, do you have any regrets from that period?
Yeah, yes I do. I could never find a rhyme for fuselage, because if I would have, I would have had this line that was killer.
Yeah, and your next move was to make amends with your rural fan base, and you did so with the country smash, I Met Her at the Gun Show. Tell me about that one.
Well, first off, it was the Gun and Knife Show. Secondly, she was a very special lady. But she was a militia member, so things didn't really work out in the long run. But I can say the good thing about gun shows is there's no background check and no 7-day waiting period for guns.
So, in late '99, you're at a celebrity hockey game for the T.J. Martell Foundation. Kenny Loggins hits a wild slap shot that hits you right on the throat, bruises your larynx. So it was touch and go for a while, and the doctors weren't sure if you'd ever sing again.
Yeah, that was a tough time.
So let me get inside your head for a minute. You're lying there in the ICU, you have a trach tube in there, and because your neck's all swollen, they weren't even sure if you'd live. So when you're sitting there just soul searching, did you ever really come to terms with the fact that you almost got taken out because you took a shot from the man from Pooh Corner?
It was a fluke. Besides, most people don't realize that I wasn't the only one. It was a wild shot. MacGyver suffered a deep blood bruise in his eyeball hole, and we were standing behind Kenny at the time.
So I've heard that you met Kenny since then. Have you two been able to come to terms with what happened?
I beat the living hell out of him. Are you kidding me? Me and MacGyver bum rushed him. And the best part was that we were by this window, and there's a whole crowd, people eating at Fuddruckers, cheering us on. Kenny Loggins wasn't all right that night, I can tell you that.
So we're going to shift gears for a moment. You couldn't sing for a year. So in '91, you concentrated on 2 projects. Early in the year, you released Sobbing Man, your orchestral spoken word album. Rolling Stone said, not since the days of Rod McEwen have we heard such a pretentious album.
That's pretty high praise, wouldn't you think?
And so later on that year, you put out a relaxation album called Peaceful Seas of Eternal Tranquility.
Yeah, that was the one that was the instrumental music I composed over with sea sounds from a remote beach in Portugal. Only the recording of the sea was subcontracted to a couple of local dudes, and they just set up the equipment right before dawn and left. So Greenpeace was there protesting the sale of whale blubber harvested there to the Eskimo black market. And a truckload of local fishermen show up. These sea hunters, or secocheiros, or whatever they're known in Portugal.
That actually means dry smell, but continue.
Okay. Well, they had a clash with the protesters, and a riot ensued. Long story short, it affected the relaxation factor of the album.
But your PBS comeback special was a huge hit.
Yeah, I formed with a big band. I wanted to do a show on wartime dance band hits. But unlike a lot of artists, I wanted to focus on the Korean conflict.
Not many people do. You know, is that why the show is only 10 minutes long?
Yeah, but be on the lookout for the DVD. It's only $19.95.
Yeah, and you just released your new big band standards album, Standards Bearer. It features your personal selection of classics from the big band era.
Yeah, well, there's so many timeless tunes in that great American songbook. I figured it was time to pay homage to the great singers and songwriters of our past, and really to my own musical heritage.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, Rod Stewart just made $1 bajillion off 3 of those albums.
It doesn't hurt.
I also figured it was a good long-term business strategy to skew my demographic even older. I mean, really get the average age of my fans up in the 70s and 80s to really consolidate my success long-term.
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot for coming out today. I guess if people want to keep up with you and your career, they can go to your website.
Yeah, they can go on my, but the only problem is people keep stealing, these squatters keep stealing my domain name.
So it's not randybrumley.com?
No, they got that one. They got randybrumley.net and randybrumley.org and randybrumleymusic.com, .net, and .org. They pretty much got everything related to me and my career. So the closest thing we could get is professionalwrestlingmishaps.net.
So if you want any news on Randy or his latest tour dates, just go to professionalwrestlingmishaps.net. And I'm Gary Goode, and this has been Randy Brumley, Musical Chameleon of 1,000 Faces. Thanks for watching, and again, thanks for coming out.
You're welcome.
I perceived a feeling. My fellow Americans, I perceived a feeling, and now it's come to root in my very bowels.
Yeah, see, wasn't that a lot better?